Coming up in our next installment of America's Hope, community violence prevention, with particular emphasis on saving families from destroying each other through the insidious evil of domestic violence. That's next on America's Hope. Good evening, I'm Kelly Wright, and this is America's Hope. And tonight we're going to talk about how we provide hope to families that have undergone violence in their communities and in their own families through domestic violence. We're going to introduce you tonight to a lady who heads 41 chapters in the state of Florida that address the issue of domestic violence. She's on the front lines to help mothers, children, fathers, sisters, brothers, everybody in the entire family understand that domestic violence can and must be prevented against all odds. Let's get right to it. During the Community Violence Prevention Seminar, we heard from Carlton Moore. He's a member of the Department of Justice. Here are some of the things that Mr. Moore had to say about how we solve violence and how we prevent it.
Our job is not to accept the status quo. It is to understand that we have the ability to shape our own destiny. And if you're in government, if you are in government, it's not just an opportunity. It is your responsibility. It is your responsibility. Places that aren't safe, it's your responsibility to make them safer. People who can't get access to care, it's your responsibility to give them access. We have to figure out ways to solve problems. Leadership in government is not about pointing out problems and then telling people who's to blame for them. It is about solving problems. That is our number one responsibility. That is our job, and that is what we need to do every single day. And that's transformation. And there's a whole host of responsibilities that we all have, but there's something that's kind of at the top of the list. And for me, it's this. It's combating violent crime. That is at the very top of the list because to me, this is the most important thing that government does. It is the number one responsibility that government has, is to keep its people safe. Everything else, that doesn't mean we don't want to do other things. There's a lot of things that we want to do. But everything else is built on a foundation of safety. You want to educate children? Is it harder to educate children if they don't feel safe? How about work? How would you like to work in a place where you didn't feel safe? How about driving on roads you don't feel safe in? How about going to the doctor and you don't feel safe? All of those things are important, but all of those things are dependent upon safety. And so we have to spend time focused on how do we make people safe? And that is the first thing that we're focused on. The first of all freedoms is in the freedom from violence. Freedom from violence. It's hard to feel free. It's hard to be free. It's hard to realize your freedom when you do not feel safe. And you know, and I know, that there are people all over this country, they don't feel safe. They don't. Because they're not. And we need to make them safer. There's great dignity in safety. And when people lose safety, they've lost their dignity.
And from Carlton Moore to a host of other speakers from the law enforcement community, we also spoke to people who attended the conference to hear what they had to say about being there and being ever present in efforts to prevent community violence.
I'm a lifelong student. I'm still learning. I'm still understanding that there are voices that need to be heard. And I also understand the fact that we are so busy isolating and operating in silos that we don't understand that we must return unity to the community. That means unity in the services that we provide, unity inside of what we do, that we understand that no one has all the answers, but together we do come up with a good solution that can benefit all. I'm here to transform my community. I'm here to transform things. I'm here to transform because, listen, at the end of the day, we've got work to do. Once again, our communities are torn by violence. Our families are destroyed by violence. Our faith is tested by violence. It is incumbent upon us that we address the violence.
I work for a program called Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, and I work with the Youth Services Department. I work with the Teen Court Program. It is a pretrial service diversion program for juveniles in Miami.
So coming to today's event, this is a two-day event talking about preventing community violence. Is it possible?
It's possible. With the right place, the right connections, and the right people in the right places, yes, it's possible.
You're on the front lines doing that.
Yes. Me and my team, we are.
How difficult is it?
It's difficult because you have a lot of pushback from not just people in politics, but also families. They're not ready for change yet. So you have to meet them where they're at. So the families that are, you provide them with the services that are needed. And the ones that are not, you meet them where they are and you kind of get them to the space that they want the services that you provide.
I got to ask you a question. You keep showing up every day. What gives you the hope to do that?
When you see one change, that's all you need. When you see that one child, they were terrible, all of a sudden now they're going off to college, they're doing great things, their family's thriving, that makes you keep going. Like, that enables you to keep fighting the fight of social work.
My name is Brenda Stanville, and I'm the Executive Director of the Alaska Network on Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault.
So you traveled from Alaska to Florida for this community violence prevention seminar. Was it worth it?
Absolutely. I was very excited to see and hear from people I have not ever heard from before. Sometimes when you operate in one circle, you hear maybe from the same people, and there was just a lot of really dynamic speakers and a lot of really great ideas. I think I filled up 9 pages of ideas in addition to lots and lots of notes, so it was very exciting.
So all throughout America, we know about all forms of violence, unfortunately, but we don't always focus on the prevention aspects of it. What's your hope for America in moving forward with more preventative measures that we can take?
I think working together. We are one big community in so many ways, and whether you're working in the side of victim advocacy like I do, or law enforcement, or media, or all of the many things that we do as people, this impacts all of us. Like, we are together in this. And so I always I have a sister who I say, do you live in a bubble? When she says, what happened? And we all need to be aware of what's happening. And at the same time, I love that quote that we ended with about the silence of good people. We are good people, and we need to stand up and say what our communities should look like. And so I really brought away from this that we can do this together. So I'm excited.